Aloha and welcome to Connection to the Cosmos with your host, me, Dr. Lisa Thompson, where I have out-of-this-world conversations with extraordinary people. Today, I am so excited to have on Nicole Harp, and I'm going to bring her on in just a moment. But first, just a couple of announcements. If you have not had the opportunity to grab my free 20-minute meditative journey to meet your galactic family and guides, make sure you grab that on my website, mysticmanta.com or drlisajthompson.com. And if you're coming to Hawaii, specifically to the Big Island, not Oahu, to the Big Island, come on one of my Big Island UFO tours and see the night sky in a whole new way using my advanced Generation 3 military night vision goggles. And I am also having a 5-day all-inclusive galactic retreat, October 2nd to the 6th, later this year. So if that interests you, make sure to check that out on my website. Again, BigIslandUFOtours.com, mysticmanta.com, and drlisajthompson.com. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Nicole. Hello, Nicole.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Lisa.
So let me share your bio because you have kind of an interesting background. So Nicole Harp is a lifelong artist and designer holding a degree from Virginia Commonwealth University in design. Her career as an accomplished abstract painter is balanced by her deep compassion and strong connection to spirit. Nicole's ability to envision and paint the souls of individuals, animals, and even energy has garnered her recognition as an award-winning artist. Her journey with art and psychic abilities has led to a profound understanding of the transformative power of creativity and connection to the spiritual realm. Nicole's intuitive approach to art and her keen insights into the energetic essence of her subjects have left a lasting impact on those who have experienced her soul paintings. As an animal communicator, Nicole provides consultations for all animal species and communicates with animals in spirit as well as living. She validates by revealing personal details specific to your animal. This meaningful information authenticates the connection to your companion. She communicates and answers questions regarding personality traits, behavior, likes, dislikes, health, soul's purpose, and much more. Any question goes. Also, I am so excited to have you here. So before we get into the conversation, of understanding your art and your animal communication, I would love for you to share with the audience kind of your background. Did you grow up in a spiritual or religious household or something else? Did you always have these abilities? Tell me about that.
Okay, but to the intro that you read, it's really just reading energy, right? Animal communication and soul paintings. They're all just reading. They're both the same. They're intertwined. It's just reading energy. So my mom was Catholic. Grew up, born and raised in Manhattan in New York City, but though she did not. Neither of my parents forced us to go to church or something, but we always, she did grow up Catholic, but the Catholic school, but we were never asked to read the Bible and that type, but we always had a sense of, my mom was very intuitive. She did some tarot cards, and that intuitive or psychic kind of ran in the family a little bit, but it wasn't spoken about, that generation. She was born in 1937. So,
Okay.
but I was definitely spiritual. And though we didn't talk about God a lot in the house, we did acknowledge when we had when we listened to our intuition. So we did kind of touch on it here and there. But I've always been intuitive, and I didn't professionally try to harness that until 5 years ago.
Okay,
So,
wow, that's actually recent.
Which was very fortuitous with my mom's dementia, which broke me wide open. But we can talk about that later.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so did you originally start in art then? Was that your original training?
Yeah, I've been in the art field for over 30 years. So I've always been a painter. Started in graphic design, but I've always been a designer and a painter. So the intuitive painting, it was always, I was academia based. It's, you're, dictated by academia, but I've always been abstract, non-representational. I've always painted that way. And then now looking at my soul paintings and looking at my past work, I can see where I was already on that path. I was already translating energy and more like, if you look, I don't know if you know art, but the New York School of Art is where it's very Motherwell de Kooning, very abstract, very colors resonating. It's more about feeling, line, strokes, color. Still held to the same quality as other realism, but very, very fluid and driven by color and emotion.
Okay. Well, and I'm a huge, huge fan of art. I always have
Great.
been.
Great.
So even though
Yep.
yeah,
We need
like
art.
even as a scientist, when I spent 3 months in Europe traveling to natural history museums to do my research, and all over the United States and Canada, and every city that I would go to, I would have to go to the art museums.
That's great. Good for you.
So
Art culture, I mean, it's what made our civilization. Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but like abstract art, looking at abstract art makes you smarter. You have to bring more of yourself to the art, to create, to complete the narrative, to start the narrative and complete the narrative. It actually fires off new neural pathway, like walking, fires off new neural pathways. Same thing with abstract art. Eric Kendall, Neuro Prize winning neuropsychiatrist, bottom up, top down. It just makes you smarter and it fires off the neural pathways. Looking at abstract art. So please do it. Do it. Everybody should do it. Thank God you're doing it, Lisa. Yeah.
Yeah, I seriously, I appreciate artists, and I've always been very creative myself. And so, and art is a form of channeling. A lot of people don't realize that, like I'm a vocal channeler and channel through writing, but creativity, any kind of creative outlet is actually a form of channeling as well.
Yeah. And speaking of, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Speaking about creativity, it's so I wrote a book, and it happens to be the 50 Soul Paintings. And I'm not trying to plug the book. I'm just saying what actually came from that first book is the second book. I'm talking to an agent in New York, and it's about creativity. And I didn't really, until I started to sit down and write the book, I didn't really think that everybody was creative. But they think, oh, artists, you have to be, someone in your family has to be talented, or you have to be born that way. And you're born with some of those, stronger influences, but everyone has a sense of creativity, and being intuitive and understanding your emotional needs will get you tapped into that. And that's actually what that second book's about. So, it is interesting you say that, because when you're creative in one field, you tend to be creative in other fields. So whether it's the instruments, singing, art, dancing,
yeah. So
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
And feel free to plug your book, because now that you said that, I'm like, I want to know what's the title of your book, and I know my audience too.
It's actually, I have it here. It's a big. I'll just show you. It's very loud. It's a big 12 by 12. I'm just gonna show you real quick. Big 12 by 12. It's called Colors of Consciousness, and it just tells the story of how I became a soul painter. My mom's story, which was the reason I kind of became the soul painter. How that her dementia broke me wide open, and able to receive. I was flooded when she was sick, and then in her passing, just flooded with. I've never experienced something like that. I was flooded with energy coming in that I had to paint, and I've never experienced. And I've been a painter for over 30 years, where I had to paint, and I was painting three to five paintings a day. And I was in the summertime, and I had all the time in the world. I wasn't working, but it was just coming out of me. And I had this, and I said, "Okay, Spirit, we need to make." I know I'm coming in. There's no context to this, but I said, "Okay, Spirit, we're going to have to come up with a plan." If I'm painting 3 of these, it's oil paint. They're on Baroque boards. I use R&F, which are like sticks, because I'm kind of, I'll say aggressive, but I'm using the sticks, and I'm not just it's not where I'm like, oh, I'll paint this color and that color. The energy is coming in of a particular soul and energy of an animal or human, and I'm having to like sketch it out and then begin the painting. And oil takes forever to dry, so I would do one, place it there, and then I would do another one. That one would move to the next, and I had like a system. And 50 soul paintings came out of me in 3 months, and then 70 out of 6 months. And then this book is a culmination, a really celebration, not a celebration of my mom's death, but about what her her death and her courageous walking through that death, and my grieving, what beauty came out of it, and how her showing me the love and light that she came into this world as, that the dementia stripped away all her pretenses. It just made me more spiritually open and intuitive, and the paintings flew out of me. And the book is 50 of those, just chosen 50. Poems also, writings also came. And I'll be honest with you, Lisa, I've said this before, but I mean it 1,000%. Channeling, because I'm like not really into labels, but I guess it would be channeling. I just, the words came. I didn't even remember writing half of them. They were coming so fast. And it's just beautiful. The poems are what soul wants you to know about your spirit, about what you come in as, the love and light you come in, that we sometimes forget. So there's a poem that comes with it. It comes in poetic form. I say that. And then the painting on, so the poem's on one side, the painting's on the other. And then I talk about abstract art, and I talk about how the beginning of how to access your creativity. So that's the book in a nutshell. But
hey, well, so
because of my mom.
That's incredible. Okay, so then, so the soul paintings started when your mother was diagnosed with dementia, or?
Yeah, so she was about 2 years. She was diagnosed, and it went pretty quickly. And 5 years before that, I was training psychic and mentor mediumship, and then I communicated. I did psychic work for people, and I was like, I've always asked, what can I do for animals? I've always been anything with the nervous system, I love, and I was like, that I should be working with animals. So then I was completely doing animal communication, and then my mom, the dementia. That 2 years when it was intense, I had already been psychically open with the training and working with a mentor. So 5 years before, so it was incredible timing. But that opened me up. I want to say just got me ready for what I was going to experience, which was, we all know. I don't know if we all know, but dementia is and Alzheimer's is. No one is the same the way they experience it, and they go through all kinds of different phases. But in the end, my mom came out, like I said, this beautiful soul that I had never experienced. I didn't see her come. I wasn't there when she was as a child, and I can only imagine that's the beautiful soul that we all come in as, before life gets in the way.
Yeah.
And she was the impetus. I painted her heaven, which is on the cover of the book, because as you have dementia, you go in and out of consciousness, and they spend, half the time, 1 foot in this world, 1 foot in the other, and most of the time on the other side, actually. And I painted her heaven, so when she stared off, she'd have something in front of her, across the bed to look at. And we tried to talk about while she was coherent, heaven and spaciousness and transitioning, but I felt like that painting represented that. And then I painted Mom and Me, which is a painting of her soul and my soul. And then I painted my spouse's parent, her and her mom. Her mom had passed a year before, and then it just started. It was just roll. I painted a friend and her guide, and then I painted an animal, a dog, a cat, and they were just coming and coming. People were like, I want a soul painting, and I'm like, come on, bring it on. I painted like puppy collectives. I had big 4 foot by 6 foot paintings, and some larger than that. But most of the smaller ones that I painted, so quickly were the 20 by 20s. But I just tap in. The color comes, the lines and shapes come. Everyone is so different, and part of the book is like how to interpret a soul painting, because abstract art, it's like what am I looking at?
Right.
What does this mean? But it kind of gives you a couple step by step. So actually, it's twofold. I've always wanted to get art in people's homes, abstract art, and I always wanted people to feel comfortable enough to look at abstract art, because they don't. People need to know what is it good, and how should I like it? But really, does it evoke an emotion in you? Are you attracted? Does it resonate with you? Are you attracted to it? Would you want to have it in your house? Right? I mean, that's the whole separate thing of why people collect art and all that, but really why you want to experience art. So that's really nice that I got to put that in the book. If it takes a soul painting in your house of a portrait of you, an energetic imprint, emotional and energetic imprint of you on that canvas to understand or begin to understand and live with abstract art, then I can't think of anything better. I mean, how lucky am I? And all, like I said, because my mom, she allowed me, the dementia allowed me to really experience her light, that orb,
Mhm.
that consciousness, being,
That's
whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
a beautiful way to look at that, because I know probably some of the audience is going through that right now or has gone through that with one of their parents. And I know that that can be challenging. I lost my mother in February of this year,
Oh my
and that was
God.
a long drawn out thing, but that was like cancer and heart disease and like,
It's your mother, though. It's, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I know fathers too, but it is different with mothers and daughters. It really is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry for you.
yeah. Well,
But,
same with you.
but
And
they're with us, right? Your mom's with you, right?
oh yeah,
Oh, that's,
completely.
yeah. It's lucky that we are spiritual in a way that, I don't know exactly what you believe, but that it's just energy, and it can't be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. And so they're
Yeah.
so close all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So now if someone were to like hire you to do a soul painting, so basically it sounds like you're really tapping into the essence of the colors, the texture, the nature of who they are. Is that what
Yes.
I'm understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. How fast they are, how slow they are, how energetic. The brushstrokes kind of show that, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe
Very.
even if there's something they've forgotten about themselves that spirit wants them to remember, they'll show it. And
Okay.
some people say, like, and I will tell you, every painting has resonated with someone except one, and that's a pretty good average since we're up in the 80s.
Okay.
I
Got
mean,
it.
I know it's, other things in your life you doubt, but I just know I knew when I was doing it, I'm 100% in my body. This is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to do. I mean, it took till 56, show my age, by 56 to do it, but I thank God I'm still able to do. It's you're ready when you're ready, so you get it when you get it, right?
Well,
So
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. I mean, I'm 51 and,
yeah,
finally fully stepping into my purpose and
yes,
calling.
yeah. But you know it when you know it. I mean, you know what it isn't, and you know what it is. So did I answer your
Beautiful.
question? I don't even know.
No, you did. You did. So let's switch gears just a little bit to the animal communication. So
Absolutely.
I have a couple friends who do that, and I
Okay.
actually back in 2018 I was taking a psychic intuition class, and part of it was to be able to do animal communication, but I've never like really done it professionally, and so I know that that really is a beautiful skill that one has, especially when you do it all the time, really practice that muscle.
Yeah.
And so what got you into the animals specifically?
Well, I think, like I said to you before, I mean, I love humans. I love people, but uh, I've always, I've done work for animals in the shelters, and rescues my whole life. I built I'm just my art related. I did a game, 6 game, really high tech signs and sounds and balls and turning for the zoo here in Norfolk. I did a big project there. I built a sustainable dog watering station that's solar based and biofiltration using natural plant biofiltration. It's always been about animals, always. And it just was, I just, like, I don't even know the exact moment when I started fusing into animals, but once I did it, I knew that, again, that's what I was supposed to do. So after hundreds and hundreds of like pro bono sessions and training, I did all the training with the psychic work, and it's really the same. You just
Mhm.
tap into animal energy and consciousness and kind of get your kind of rhythm down with them. And we've always had so many. At one point we had 6 dogs. We've always had so many rescues, and I've always been, rescues always rescues always come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just made sense. I've always asked, what more can I do for animals? And I know just doing one at a time now, it's not like as huge as I don't know what it will transform into. So when I can do the most good, but I know the good I'm doing now with human and guardian and animal, and just making the lives, just having a different understanding of your animal companion, that, I guess for years that I've always been vegetarian. There was a reason, but for humane reasons,
Hmm.
for the veg. So I've always been connected. I've always been the empathy for animals.
Well,
I
and I'm with you because at my PhD
say it. I can't express it
it's in
enough.
zoology, and because I was obsessed with animals my
Yeah,
entire life,
yeah,
and I love that you and others like you are able to give a voice to the animals that, even though they do communicate, most people don't receive that communication. They don't
yeah.
take time to really understand.
You really have to listen. You really have to listen. When we were talking before, we were saying, did you want to do one on the show? I just feel like, I guess for me to get the most, because some are shy, some transmit through different clairs. So if
Hmm.
some, they use their clairs just like we do,
Mm.
your chakras, and
Mm.
it depends who I wouldn't want to get someone who's really shy, like your animal. I don't know which one, but we are going to do that, and you can talk about it later, hopefully. But I am going to communicate with one of your animals. But uh, it is such a special experience. They're just pure, well, they're Zen masters, and they're just pure joy and pure love and light. Kind of like I told you what my mom was once she, shed all the ego and the pretenses that we build up over throughout the years. Well, they bring us into presence. That's the beauty that they try to teach us if we're
Mhm.
listening and if we're paying attention. So that's my gift. I mean, that I think so thankful for every day. The soul painting too, but just to connect with animals in a way that, like you said, can bring a voice. Or everything they teach me. I mean, it sounds so like school book. They teach me something every day, but they do. It's brilliant all the time, and it's interesting too. Some that when they pass over, and I haven't had this too much recently, but they can communicate in a way that's so like profound, and like you're writing a book like Carl Jung, and they're just so profound. I mean, they're profound in their bodies now, but when they pass over, they're even so much more. It's hard to describe.
So I'm curious then, because so I have a cat and a dog currently, and I have
Okay,
a
do that again. Give it that.
pardon? Oh, I have one cat and one dog
Okay,
currently that are in the house, but in
they don't get
beginning,
along. Do they
no,
get
they do.
along?
Yeah,
Oh,
they do.
okay.
Oh, that's at first no, but now
Because your
yes.
cat said no. Your cat said no. Your cat. I just got that your cat said no. You don't. Typical cat, right? A typical cat.
She tolerates her brother. She's the
I'm,
queen.
I'm gonna, if things come in, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay,
Okay. So that
that's
was,
good.
yeah. They just said she's
But we have another cat that went missing a month
mm,
ago, and it's like, and she's been with us for 8 years, and I don't know if she got in a fight with a neighbor cat because there are some scrappy cats in our neighborhood, and if
right.
she just like got too injured or what, but she has not come back, and my daughter is just like beside herself because that was her baby,
Yeah.
and so.
Did you let her out? Did she get out?
Well,
Did
she's
you let her?
indoor. We live in Hawaii,
Yeah.
and we live in it like there aren't any predators here except for the scrappy cats. But so
Right.
we're she's a space kitty. She's one that would go and like travel through portals, but she'd always come back. She'd only
Right.
be gone for maybe several hours, but not like weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say something. I'll definitely, if you want me to try to find your cat too. Those are a little more difficult, but I can, and I'm getting a feeling, but I don't want to say
Okay.
that yet. I mean,
I
I
had
don't
I
know if
had
it's something you
one of
want
my
to.
other friends kind of tune in, and she's like, sometimes it's hard when they've passed or not, like to
Yeah,
really figure that out.
yeah. You kind of have to ask them what the temperature is, what they're feeling, and you can do a thing where you kind of enter into their body, like what they feel, and
Mhm.
do that. Yeah, which definitely takes a lot of focus. I
Yeah.
mean, if anybody can do it on a podcast, whatever. I mean, you know what I mean? It's a lot. I'm not, and I'm certainly not trying to show off. I'm really about being accurate and giving the client as much authenticity. And yeah, I'm not into guesswork. So,
Right.
yeah. Well, I will say though, I mean, I know you let your cats out, but it is just read an article and was just talking to another cat about that and just how I know they want to go, but it is kind of unsafe out there.
Hmm.
And I know your cat. It is best to keep them indoors if you can,
Okay.
because well, just because there's a lot of reasons, but also too, I don't know if you're interested in this, but they have these catios where you can attach it to your house and they can go
Yeah.
out and they're still outside,
One
but
of my
there's
friends has one of those.
yeah, we have one for our domestic feral our feral cat that turned domestic because we're
Okay.
scared to let it back out, and I'm really scared for the birds, and
Okay.
but I hope well, I'll tap in, and I would definitely love to help try to find that cat. Or what's her name?
Her name is Bindi.
Bindi.
Hmm.
Okay, all right. You send me a
Yeah. And
picture, yeah, and
I,
I'll definitely try to find her.
okay.
That's
Well, and
that's
the other one that was talking to you, her name is Chana.
Shauna.
So, yeah,
Okay,
she's
she's
the
a happy
queen.
cat, huh?
She
She
is.
likes you. She likes you.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're her mommy.
I
Yeah,
am. For
yeah.
sure.
They're funny with the nicknames. My one cat calls me Knickers because my name's Nicole, but Knickers. It's just funny. Yeah. Anyway, I gotta tell you some things my cat said, but anyway, yeah, they're
No,
funny.
actually, share. I would love to
No,
hear.
no, they're just funny. She kept biting me, and I communicated with her, and she said it was sexual. Sorry, but it's sexual, not towards me, but they have sexual energy, and the biting
Okay.
is and yeah. And then my spouse is does psychic work too, and I didn't tell her that, and she ended up tapping in, and she's like, "Baby said that her name's Baby Cat. Don't get me started on that silly name, but because she was a runt, and baby, she came to the house. I'm like, oh baby, come here, baby, and that's how she got her name. But anyway, we do have more interesting names for our animals, but. And then she told her as well, Amy, that it was sexual, and I'm like, not again, just sexual energy because cats, they, and
Mhm.
animals in general, that. That's so funny. Now, Lisa, do you know that animals have sexual energy? But she's just funny. She will just say whatever. But I'm trying to get her to not. She started scratching the couch and I didn't know it. And then I have been tapping in, and I have been telling her, and she stopped, but I always have to check. And if I hear a noise, but I tell her, I show her what she can scratch, and she's got a
Mm,
million things she can, except
mhm.
the couch. So that's why I feel is good because some people are just, I mean, they're besides themselves. They don't know what to do. My dog's biting. My dog or my cat's doing this. I mean,
Yeah.
it's frustrating. It's not like the animal communicators, cats or dogs don't do it too. So you know what I mean? I was like, well, we got to get. I have to be a good. For me to be a good animal communicator, you have to not do these things. So we have to and it's harder to communicate with your animal than it is someone else's. It is because you spend so much time with them. You're like, it just is. But we passed all that.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, like, okay, because we had a cat that my daughter brought home, a kitten, and he ended up when he grew up, he ended up being a bully to the other cats.
Yeah,
And I did have to find him a different home, but he
yeah,
was scratching all the furniture. He was actually every single screen, window screen and door screen, he
right.
would create a hole and jump through. Like
Wow.
he was
Yeah,
going to be in and out like on his
yeah.
own terms.
Right, and some just are like that. They're like, I grew up on the street. I'm going back to the. I mean, you can't really. Some of them you can't take the street out of them. And that's what animal communication is too. If I had known you then, maybe to try to get to the root cause. I will tell you, I communicated with them. I doubt you know her, but Granny Magic. I don't know, Alison Dubois. She's teaches on Alison Dubois' Dead University, but I communicated with her cat, and he was telling me about uh, cats that start as outdoor cat, street feral cats, and just the need to dominate that they have, or be like they have a ranking and where they're placed in the, they all have their role, and if they're
Mhm.
kind of not doing that role, then what they, there's confusion there, and so sometimes just communicating with them and explaining what's going on, everything's okay, or what your role is. Here's what you should be doing. Here's what you shouldn't be doing. Giving them the visuals because you never
Mhm.
want to visualize what you don't want them to do.
Right.
You don't want to visualize, don't go do this, because then all they hear is couch. But what are you allowed to scratch, or what are you allowed to claw? You know what I mean. What?
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
and
it's getting
that's
kind of confusing now.
No, that's a perfect reminder for people in terms of how to manifest stuff too, because don't focus on what you don't want,
Don't
because you're going
want.
to create
Yes.
that. Right?
Yeah.
Focus
Right.
on what you actually want. Visualize
Energetic
what
potential. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
And since they're mostly visual, but they do have other ways they communicate. I mean, they can do mental communication, and heart to heart is the biggest one. But I mean, you can experience it on a walk with your dog if you kind of like start to like when you before you get to a corner, like 30, 40 feet before you get to a corner, start thinking, we're gonna turn right, we're gonna turn right. That's if you don't have a dog like Charlie who likes to decide the routes because he likes to keep it exciting, and we listen to him. But if you like want to turn right, okay, we're on a time schedule. We got to turn right. It's the shorter walk. They will all turn right if you think it ahead of time before they get there. You think it ahead of time, and when you get to the corner, they will all just go right. It's just you can just like test it out here, here and there.
Yeah. Well, so what are some of the reasons why people come to you for animal communication? I mean, I know why I've gone to my friends, for that,
Right.
but what are common themes that your clients come to you with?
Unfortunately, it's most of the time it is issues where they've noticed a change in really probably the most common is they've noticed a change in the behavior.
Okay.
And, we get going on our lives. We're so busy and we don't notice that maybe, not something major like a move or a baby coming into the house. That's major stuff, but that there's something that did change and that we didn't, that we missed it, but they didn't miss it. A schedule, someone's coming home later, or someone used to work from home and now they're not. I mean, there's all these different things. So usually some kind of change in behavior, and mostly physical. I can do a health reading where I just do a body scan. Like I picked up on someone's hip dysplasia. But it's interesting how many. I just want to say this because I'm not trying to impress anybody. I am interested. I am blown away, and please stop doing it, people. How many people put their animals on human drugs? Like what's the depression? I mean, all this different kind of anti-anxiety medication. I mean, it is the animals cannot they cannot handle it. I mean, I was communicating with an animal, and it's like he was like he had dementia, but it was the medication. And I was like, this animal is, and it makes them feel like, to say this in the most honest way, it makes them feel like they just want to pass over. So get the animals off medication. Let's figure out what the issue is. I'm not a vet. I don't claim to be, but they do not like being on medication if they don't have to.
Okay.
So let me say that. Yeah. But back to your question. Yeah. Sorry. But whatever. We talk, but I mean, it's just wonderful to just have a better, it when someone's communicated with your animal, you'll feel the difference if you're aware, and hopefully you were aware enough to make the appointment. So hopefully someone is wanting to change, but you'll feel the difference. Every time I used to teach animal communication, and my students would use my animals because my animals won't tell them anything they don't want to tell them. I'm fine with that. But I could feel the difference when my students were communicating, I loved it. I loved it. It's like when you first started out in the psychic work, getting communications from other psychics. Isn't it addicting? You're like, oh my God, I love this. Yeah, it's just affirming what you already knew, right? In your heart. Oh, like it's just like you should be saying all the things. Validation. Well, I just love stuff that I like, maybe because I'm not communicating with my dogs every day officially, but they're telling me things like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And it's just, you feel like you have this, the upper hand on like, knowledge when it comes to your animals. So it's anyway, it's so helpful.
Well, so in your bio, you say that you communicate with all different kinds of species. And so what's maybe the most exotic or most unusual animal that you've communicated with?
Well, I've communicated with a gecko family that's here and in my yard, but and no one came to me for that. I just communicated with them. But a turtle, a snake.
So I'm curious, like what kind of messages do they have to share? Maybe is it different than the dogs and cats, or very similar?
Which ones? Turtles or?
Yeah, well, I guess all the reptiles, the geckos, the turtles, Yeah.
I can't remember why I was connecting with the geckos, except that Oh yeah, I remember. My cat was bringing them in, or so
Oh,
no, they were getting in, and my cat, yeah. So I
okay.
had to talk to them about, yeah. But unfortunately, I was finding gecko heads. But yeah, but
Welcome to
it just depends.
Hawaii.
Reptiles sometimes are like confused as to why people are scared of them.
Mm,
Yeah, and the turtle is a someone else's turtle, and that the turtles that I've communicated with are just so they're so wise, and it and this one's not that old, but she's older. But the wisdom that they have from being as old as they are, and hereditary wise, how their species old their species is
yeah.
passed down to the is instilled in that is in them. So it's like speaking to a wise old soul. I mean, it's
That,
really, and
that's what I would
on,
imagine, actually. Yes.
they
So,
could go on and on. The one Ruby, from a woman, she had said, "Let's write a book for kids." And so we still talk about that. The owners that own the person who, I don't say owner because no one owns, but the guardian of that turtle. We still talk about that because Ruby Rose was giving me all this information, and I wrote down for. She's like, "We need to," I said, "Well, I'll write that down, Ruby, and that's definitely something to think about." But yeah, I mean, just like the thought of just communication and how we need to get that to children. I mean,
mhm.
who thinks about that? I mean, you know, um, yeah. So
So what was the voice of the snake? Because I know, like, I've got a few friends that are just my daughter and my best friend. They are so afraid of snakes, and I'm like, I love snakes. I mean, I
yeah.
love all animals again, all reptiles, whatever. But so, what's the voice of the snake?
Well, I think it's just interesting, like why people are scared. Like, why would someone be scared? I mean, first of all, snakes. If you have them as pets, that's you're the one taking them in an unusual environment. Were they pets? The one you're
Oh no, no,
talking to?
no.
Oh,
They're
just,
like just even my
oh,
friend Jen, if she's outside and there's a garter snake
oh,
like
yeah,
on the
yeah.
ground, she'll push you into the snake and run away. Like,
That's interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's interesting why people are so scared of like bugs or reptiles or things like that because they're not familiar with them. They're not something they see all the time. If their parent or some friend had had one as a pet, I mean, it would be different. But mainly I've only connected with one. The one that I connected with was just really perplexed as to why. People are scared, and it wasn't the people that brought it in as a pet. It was the people that they would bring over, and he was
mhm,
kind of like no nonsense. Why are you introducing me to people who are scared of me? And
right.
that kind of like, why are you doing this, and why don't you educate them type thing. That kind of like, what's going on? I'm not even supposed to be in a cage. That kind of attitude. Like, it's kind of all you. It's you, human. You're the issue. Do you know what I mean?
Uh
I
huh.
mean, what I mean? That kind of snake energy. Yeah. But
Okay.
I'm painting wolves right now, and that wolf energy, and
Mm.
those paintings are just wolves are complex, and I get why people like them. I'm not like a huge, oh my god, I love wolves. But some people are so into wolves.
Yeah.
And I can see why now, painting their souls. It's like I've been painting a wolf collective group of paintings, and um, they're interesting. They're really interesting, really complex. They're spiritual, yet they're really organic and grounded. Yet they're warriors and hunters. So it's all these it's so complex. Yeah,
I love that. Well, and so one of the things that I'm here to do is really like help people get over their fear of things that like reptiles or, just fear of insects, because some of the galactic beings that I work with and that are out there and that are want to be coming in are some of these, like in just bigger forms, like the
right,
mantis beings and the reptilians. And, you know, there's so much beautiful biodiversity out there. And the more that we understand that there's nothing to fear, they all
right,
have consciousness, they all have a voice, they all want to be understood.
right.
And so
They do.
I
Yeah,
love this conversation because it relates directly, again, to the work that I do, just, at a galactic level.
right.
But, and it starts with appreciating biodiversity here on Earth, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really, that's interesting. That's interesting that you're connecting with something that, galactic in a way that's so quantum, yet we're still so elementary here with our understanding of and our respect for what's living here. How can we
Yeah.
even begin to understand that? It's
Yeah.
just that's a big job. I wish you, yeah. So far, you're doing a great job. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's
So have you communicated with any insects?
No, a fly one time. I said, you have to go or we're going to kill you because you're crapping all over my window. And it did, but no, just like not a long communication. Like my communication sometimes are anywhere from like 90 minutes to 2 hours,
Okay.
depending how, if the animal, like some breeds, let's just talk dogs, like a Labradoodle. There's some, most of them, like 99.9% are just like ball, where's the ball. They're super, hey, let me tell you, they're just super energetic. One, I swear to God, had on this, showed me this like cheerleader shirt that they had on, like they were doing cheers. They're just so talkative. And then other animals aren't talkative, or they're shy, or they're like, hey, what's this? So just simple insects that I want to get out of the house. Or if
Okay.
we had a mouse that came in, and I was like, look, we can't live with you. And I mean, just communicating. I didn't just say that, and that's communication, but tapping in, really connecting to their consciousness, heart to heart, how much I love them, and love that you're here and part of this, biodiversity, but, you have to be outside and we're inside. And I mean, I've communicated with rodents before, and simple insects like spiders and flies and things like that. But they're all fascinating. My spouse is actually separate off the topic, but my spouse is a photographer, and when she's photographing plants and animals, insects, oh my God, everything in the world is designed based on Fibonacci, the golden mean, animals and nature. Everything we do, whether it's some XOXO kitchen utensil, I mean everything. If you look at nature
Mhm.
and insects and animals, that is what everything is designed based on. And of course, if it works so beautiful there, why not copy it? I mean,
Yeah.
you'd have to see what I'm saying, but it is, I mean, it just gives me a whole nother appreciation for insects that I can't see, but you have to have a major macro lens to look at. And then plants, the way they, from the inside out, from beginning to death.
Mhm.
It's fascinating. It's just fascinating.
Yeah. Well, so I know plants are obviously not animals, but have you communicated with plants as well?
I'm getting ready to do trees. I'm getting ready to do trees. They've been coming like, okay, I'm going to start doing trees. Yeah. Well, everything is energy. So, and I know I say consciousness and the colors of consciousness, but like you said, I mean, everything, the essence, the being,
Mhm.
but no, trees are next. Yeah. But I am going to do planets. I have my list is, I have planets on my list, but doing this, different planets, but I haven't done that yet, or the moon, but I've got my lifetime. So I'm going to be painting souls and consciousness and being till the day I transition. So
Okay, well, excellent. Well, so one of the things that I had people do at my last galactic retreat was really, so I had different crystals, and I had them tune into the consciousness of the crystal and let the crystal speak to them.
right.
And so a couple of my people actually, like, I'm like, ask the crystal if it has a name it wants to be called. And some of the crystals spoke very loudly to them and gave them names and information.
That's
And so
interesting.
I mean, everything does have consciousness.
Yeah.
Even my mug here has
Right.
consciousness.
Right. And so, like, do you call it energy? Do you call it consciousness? What, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, whatever it is, it's
whatever the name is. Right. We don't want to get hung up on that, but yeah, but yes, that is true. And, yeah.
well. So in our last bit of time here, is there anything else that you would like to share about your business, or how you like to work with people?
Just in general, that both of them are healing. The animal communications healing for the guardian and the animal. It does give them a new way to see and exist together in harmony. Not that there wasn't harmony before, but just another level of depth of understanding each other on a soul's level. And then the paintings are healing. Uh, just showing you another side of yourself that maybe you've forgotten or kept on the back burner or haven't revealed. Just again, that bright light that you come in as, that animals always are, because they're not in their ego and they're just a little bit below consciousness they don't get caught up in their thoughts when I say that. Just that it's healing, and it's a communication, just like you would get a communication. It's just in a different form. So you can get a communication in a written form, and I can tell you about your animal or you can get a soul painting, which is a communication that you put in your space, and it changes according to the state of mind of the viewer. So art changes according to the state of mind that you're in. If one day, if you look at it, you might see something that you don't see the next day because of the energy, and how that you are that day. So I guess what I'm saying is it's healing. So if you're interested in getting to know yourself better and maybe healing a part of yourself, or your animal, if you want animal communication, then
Yeah.
I'm your artist.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Well, and how can people find you?
So my website is I have two websites, but the spiritual website is Harp Space, like Headspace, but HARP, harpspace.org. And the soul painting, there's a section for the soul paintings there and one for the book. And then my NicoleHarp.com has been my art website for my CVs on there and all my shows for the last 30 years. So either of those two is a good way to get a hold of me.
Okay, well, excellent. Well, it's been fantastic to have you on and talking about all of this juiciness.
You too, Lisa. You're really fun. Yeah, it's been fun.
And, maybe we'll have you on in the future, and then you can do maybe a reading or something just on.
Well, I'm gonna do one for you anyway. So
no, and I appreciate
look forward to it. I look forward to it. So I do. Yeah, you have good energy, and good luck with your retreats and I know you have so many things coming up with people being able to come to Hawaii, and how beautiful is that?
Yeah.
I don't know how you ended up in Hawaii, but bravo.
I've been here just over 3 years, middle of COVID.
Oh yeah. Would you end up going there and never left?
Actually,
did you go there for some.
We made a planned move here in the middle of COVID. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sight unseen.
Yeah. What? So many people do that and it doesn't work out. So I'm glad it worked out for you.
It worked out in a big way. So, well, thank you. And for those of you watching and listening, I'll see you next time on Connection to the Cosmos. Aloha.